Welcome back to BVarsity Live here from the Dignity Health Studio at the Bakersfield Californian. Zach Ewing, Trevor Horn, bringing back for the second segment, Stavros Kastantonis. You get it? Close?
Close.
All right. And Brian Nixon.
Dad says, eh.
Yeah, well, I'll take a C-. We were talking about Liberty and the big win at Mission Viejo last week and pairing that with Bakersfield beating Oaks Christian, Centennial going up to Porterville. Independence plays Arroyo Grande this week. Centennial goes up to Clovis West. Bakersfield plays Edison. Bakersfield Christian gets CVC this week. A lot of out-of-area games here in the month of September and in August last week that will really shape the picture of how good Kern County football is, and it seems like it's very good. We think it's very good. Trevor, you're coming from out of the area.
Yes.
And it seems – are you surprised at how good it is? I mean, I know you knew Bakersfield High.
I'm not surprised, but it's a nice thing to see. To come from, Sacramento, where we have Folsom and Delaware, you guys are well aware of those teams. To be able to come down here and see the level of play, and it's absolutely across the board equal to, what we see up in Northern California. Obviously Southern California is going to be a little bit different down in the LA area because they've got so many players down there. 28 million people to choose from. But, yeah, I mean, the play here is absolutely phenomenal.
And Liberty right in the middle of that. They have Ridgeview this week. And then some more tough non-league games. I know you play Central. I don't have your schedule in front of me, but you can't really look ahead much. And I know you don't anyway. This is the thing I love about Brian, by the way, is that he's cliche, but he knows it and he owns it. So I appreciate that. But it's got to be that way. I mean, and that's because if you look past Ridgeview, they're going to beat you. If you look past who do you have next week?
Central.
It's Central next week then. Well, obviously that you can't look past that either. Stavros, do you like that? Would you like a breather in there? Would you like to play a, I don't know, Rosamond in there or something?
Earmuffs, Brian.
No, I think I like playing like challenging teams. It's fun.
Is that okay even if you lose one? In the end, I mean, if you look back on it?
I don't like losing, but I guess if that's the way it would be, then I guess yes.
Coach says it's okay. It's okay if you lose one. I mean, it happens.
It does, but I think that's the thing about a preseason. It's going to exploit some of your weaknesses that we have to correct, and if we want to make a run in the playoffs and do the things we want to do in our league, then we have to exploit those things early so we can work on them and fix them. So,
well, as we talk about some of these teams and how good they may or may not be, and to me, it's always a puzzle. You get a puzzle piece each week with each team. By the end of the year, okay, who the best teams are. But right now, we're still looking at pretty much a blank picture. Let's take a look at our Central Section rankings and what we have. And, we start with Bakersfield at number 1, and that's I think that's almost by default. Go ahead. Let's go with 1 through 5, Chris, if we can. There we go. Bakersfield at number 1, and that's I think it's by default, and I think even as a rival school, you guys would have to agree with that. If they won the state last year, they got to start number 1 until proven otherwise, right?
I agree 100%.
Yep.
And then we have Clovis North 2, and then we have you guys at 3, Edison 4. At this point, it's all up in the air. I mean, do you feel you've seen D1 teams for a long time, Coach? This is a team that can win a D1 championship if things fall right?
I think so. I think we have a lot of – I said the P word at the beginning of the season that they have a lot of potential. And if we are consistent in what we do, that we have a chance to get better week in and week out. We're pretty excited about our group.
I think you have to be pretty darn good in a couple of areas to win a section title. Where is this team the strongest on the field?
Stavros and I were talking about that on the way here. We have the most returners on defense.
Okay.
That's where we have the most leaders, the most varsity experience. So it's a good place to start. Your defense has to be good week in and week out, and that's where we have our most returners. So right now, that's the strength of our team.
How many back on D?
6.
6 starters. Do you feel that? Did you feel it on Friday, Stavros, when they're all guys that you played with before? Mm-hmm. Is there that much more level of comfort? I mean, is it noticeable?
Well, I felt like we didn't only have 6 starters. I felt like we had 11 returning starters.
Really?
I felt really comfortable with everyone out there, and we played really good.
How does that manifest itself? Just everybody sort of knows their duty? How can you tell the difference between that and maybe a defense that's not gelling well?
I think everyone was just like taking the right reps, and they were working everything to the exact detail of what they're supposed to be doing. Did
you know that coming in, or did it take a live game to?
I had a feeling that it would rise up in the game, but other than that, that's basically where I saw it the most.
One thing that a big win does, and Trevor, we've seen this over and over again, is it raises the expectation level a little bit, and that's probably natural. I mean, even for you guys, you win that game now. Okay, well now let's get to 2-0, let's get to 3-0, let's get to 4-0. How has this week been different in practice? Maybe even walking around school. I mean, do you feel those heightened expectations a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, you hear people like talking to you in the hallways and stuff, but when it comes to practice, I mean, that last Friday's game is behind us, and we realize that we have to go out there and get a win this week.
He's good.
He's good.
Casey, can we throw that top 5 back up for a second? I just want to look at and pinpoint.
You just called him Casey again. Now
I did.
Now you got Chris
I'm
upset.
sorry. I'm so used to it. I apologize.
Let's throw the rankings back up.
He's not going
Chris.
to do it just because I did it.
There we go.
But thank you, Chris. This is what I love about teams that don't schedule cupcakes in non-league. Bakersfield going up against number 4 Edison. Clovis North is going to go up north and play Folsom, which is top 5 throughout California on
Right.
every major ranking. And Folsom went 14-0 both last seasons and lost in the NorCal Regional Open game, which doesn't exist anymore, to De La Salle both years. So that's a team that's gone 28-2. They're going to find out very early on if they have Bolu back. Is he back this week? I don't know.
I don't know. But that does raise a good point, Brian. As a coach of a team that could potentially contend for a state bowl championship, how do you feel about them kind of nixing that open regional game?
It's not something that we've had to deal with. So it
Right.
was, I think you take Folsom and put them in that picture. Folsom was definitely a team that could have played for a state championship last year, but they had to play De La Salle the last 2 years.
Right.
I mean, playing against those guys at Cal Berkeley at the camp we used to go to, those guys are really, really good.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt bad for them because they should have been playing down south too.
Well, and the craziest thing, too, is this might be the best Folsom team they've ever had. Their biggest bugaboo, especially when it comes to playing a team like De La Salle that just loads the box with 300-pound linemen, is they've got their best line of any year. And Jake Browning, who's going to UW next year, goes 511 yards, 7 touchdowns in his first game, and they shut out a really good Cathedral team to just 10 points and a 55-10 win. Clovis North is going to have a battle, and Folsom, if it comes to it, Zach and I were talking about it, in the northern part of the section, if De La Salle goes 10-0 in the regular season, or they go 14-0 and they roll through the North Coast section, and then Folsom does the same thing in the Sac Joaquin section, body of work, De La Salle's going to have to go into the Open.
Oh,
and then,
of course.
And then Folsom's going to go into
D1.
D1, and they're going to get their shot with their best team and probably win the D1 title.
It's
just because.
The unfortunate thing, and this is, I don't have to be in the locker room. I don't have to feel the hurt after you lose the game, but I'd like to see this. This may be Folsom's best team. I'd like to see them have another shot at De La Salle. This might be the year they beat them. I mean, you never know. And that's, to me, it takes away one more of those games, but you understand it as well. So let's throw up the 6 through 10 there in that ranking, Chris. And this is,
And before we go with that, I think every coach across the board will say, why do this? Because you're taking 2 teams out of a
there would have
possibility.
there'd be 2 more opportunities.
yeah, 2 more opportunities taken away, whether they're
But now,
open or not.
with this change, Bakersfield would not have been in the state bowl game last
they
year. They
would
were the
not
last
have.
team in the D1, so they wouldn't have been in.
Actually, both D1 teams would not have been in.
They wouldn't.
Delora wouldn't have gone
Neither
either
one of them.
Right.
from the north.
Right. So that it does take away those opportunities for some teams, but for a team like Folsom, for a team like maybe Corona Centennial last year, would have opened the door.
Yep.
Bakersfield Christian at 7, Central, who you have next week at 8, Ridgeview, who you have this week at 9, and then El Diamante rounding out the top 10. So it's a pretty different. And by the way, those rankings brought to you by CentralValleyRecruit.com and by Bill Wright Toyota. It is it's tough in Kern County when you see 5 of those top 10 teams from Kern County. That usually doesn't happen, but it's also a lot of fun to challenge yourself, like you guys were saying. So, Stavros, let me ask you, who do you play week 10?
BHS.
Okay, he knew. I was wondering about that because as we go through these rankings, I mean, that's the game that we've all kind of looked at. Is it hard not to have that somewhere in the back of your head that's week 10?
Brian doesn't like
obviously
this
it's already
at all.
pretty far back in my head. I mean, I wasn't.
Yeah, it
I'm
took you-
focused,
it took
I'm
you a
focused on
minute,
this
yeah.
week, so I was like, week 10, okay. But I mean, we know they're there, but once we get there is when we have to solve it. So
You're not worried about it at all right now. I can already
No.
tell. Yeah.
No, we got a lot of ball to play between now and then. So
I think you're going to be ready for that game right around November 1st.
whatever date it is,
Yeah,
that
exactly.
week, because we're
Yeah.
going to be prepared
That
for
Saturday, you're ready to
Definitely.
go.
And I guess I'm just thinking from a Kern County perspective, how cool it would be if that was a championship game of sorts. But I can already tell just by looking at your face you haven't thought about that.
No, I mean, we played well Friday. We got to play well this Friday.
Right.
That's our main focus, and we got to get our kids to understand that. Our kids need to understand it's week to week. We can't look ahead. We can't look behind. It is right now, and our opportunity for today.
Yeah. Speaking of which, how do you stop Sheldon Croney?
We got to get 11 guys to football. I mean, there's no doubt. We got to get one guy to grab cloth, and the next few guys have got to come in a hurry. So their quarterback, I mean, he made a lot of plays with his feet.
Sure.
So it's not just Sheldon. It's a very dynamic offense. We got to get 11 guys to the ball, and we got to do our job and our role defensively.
Croney barely played offense in the second half, actually.
Yeah.
He was mostly on the defensive side of the ball. But it's sort of strength on strength. I mean, Ridgew's got all these great running backs. You guys have really rallied to the ball well last week.
Mm-hmm.
It should be a fun matchup.
Definitely. We're excited about it, and we want to see if we got better from last week.
All right, Stavros, what are you looking forward to specifically for tomorrow? Do you relish that chance to go against Croney? I don't think you've played him yet, have you?
No, not yet.
Is that something you sort of look forward to?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've played with him back in Golden Empire, so
Okay.
That's always fun to go tackle one of your good friends. So.
So you guys know each other pretty well.
Yeah.
Have you talked this week?
No, not that much.
The communication has been cut off for the week.
There's no replies on Twitter this week.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
There's no DMs.
You keep your friends close and you shove your enemies away this week, I guess. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you coming in. We got to take another break here, and we're going to bring Nick Ellis in to talk a little refereeing, which should be a lot of fun.
Refereeing and a little jumping.
Brian, try not to yell him on the way out the door.
Yeah,
Just,
you got it.
coaches and referees, we're going to have you go out that door. Nick will come in this door. Stavros, congratulations on the win last week. Brian, congratulations, and good
Thank
luck
you.
tomorrow night.
Thank you very much.
Brian Nixon, Stavros Katsantonis. Did I do it right?
There you go.
Nice.
Yes, I got the
we
thumbs
got
up.
thumbs up
All
from
right.
Dad.
So we'll be right back on BVarsity Live with Nick Ellis after this. Thanks, guys.